Former presidential candidate and current New York mayoral candidate Andrew Yang is also addressing the mass shooting in Atlanta and the rise in Asian American attacks across the country. His wife Evelyn today tweeting about the intersection of race, misogyny, and rape culture and the backlash she faced when revealing her own sexual assault. Evelyn and Andrew Yang joining us now. And Evelyn, thank you both for being here, but I want to start with you, if I may. You recently tweeted that the fetishizing of Asian women is real, and you've spoken out as a survivor yourself. Why is this such an important topic for you?
Well, thank you, Juju. Thanks for having us today. You know, the shooter targeted Asian American women, and of course that's hits very close to home. You know, when I came forward about being sexually assaulted by my doctor last year, I was not expecting the racial element that I experienced, but I wasn't surprised. You know, I got some comments that were racially charged, like you wanted his egg roll, and things, other comments that were honestly much worse than that I can't even speak. And I think that the problem here is this stereotyping of Asian women that is harmful because it implies fault on the part of the victim. So Asian women are either too submissive and too much pushover that we somehow let it happen, or that we're hypersexualized and we were asking for it. You know, these are two just very toxic, obviously, elements to these stereotypes, but they're also barriers to Asian women coming forward about sexual assault when, you know, culturally, it's also less likely that Asian American women come forward to begin with. And I think when you look at...
Right. I know you both have fought against the cultural tendency towards silence. Andrew, you have been such a staunch ally for your wife throughout her ordeal. How can men be allies in this fight?
Well, men have to speak up when we see something in terms of misogyny or mistreatment of women. And certainly if there's a woman in our life that is being subject to some form of abuse or harassment. And I have to say that men are around other men and we can do more. We have to be able to look out for the women in our lives and really the people in our community more than is happening in many environments right now.
And yet, Evelyn, you also have spoken out about experiencing COVID racism firsthand. What did you mean by that?
So I think like many Asians in the last year, we've experienced belittling just on the street. You know, my first brush with COVID-related racism was a comment by a woman who said something to me along the lines of, "Stay away from me, I don't want your diseases." And I think what was most disturbing about that encounter was that it was in broad daylight. She said it in front of her friend, like it was completely acceptable when it's not. Right. And I think that this speaks to the normalization of what's happening within our community, which is the dehumanization of Asian Americans.
Right.
And even
Andrew, in the 10 seconds we have left, what can the Asian American community do to rally around this issue and stop the hate?
The first thing we have to do is let people know that this is happening, this is real, it's getting stronger, it's getting more dangerous. And even now, Juju, a lot of these incidents are not reported. We have to change that.
Thank you for being part of the change, Andrew and Evelyn Yang. Thanks for being with us.
Put the money in our hands. 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 Can we afford it? Yes. Will it cause inflation? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Is anyone trying to make it happen? Yeah, that guy.